Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I'm joined by Derek Vandygriff, Mr. Baseball, and we're going to talk about the Ole Miss Baseball series with Morehead State in just a second. But right now, I want to tell you about the Grove Collective's new campaign. It's called March to Victory, and what it is a bracket-style competition that pits regions against each other to advance to give decent money to the NIL collective at Ole Miss. So go to thegrovecollective.com/march to victory. Again, that's thegrovecollective.com/the march to victory. Use the promo codes that are down there. Make the Jordans match what you give and contribute to the Ole Miss NIL collective. Derek, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to get some more baseball in my life. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm pretty good. I'm rocking my Toledo Mud Hens hat.
I know,
today. I'm in the baseball frame of mind. Like I said, whenever I went in Tigers, I don't think anybody realized when I went in last year, I was going how all in I was going.
Yeah, you were going 2 feet in, man. I mean, you were all in at that point, and you've been baseball ever since. So that's what I like to see.
Yeah, and hardcore. I mean, down to like I have the MLB package and everything and watching games, but I have the extra MLB package to where all the minor league games for the Tigers are broadcasted as well. So yeah,
nice. Yeah. I'm pulling for a big season out of Colt Keith this year for the Tigers. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I've seen Colt Keith play 2 games this spring, and he ripped line drive singles the other way both times. He's going to be a star.
My man. Yeah, I totally agree. I kept up with him throughout the minors last year, as I thought he was going to be a really good player for y'all. And obviously, after signing that extension in the offseason, he'll be up with the big league club come opening day. So I'm excited to see his progression.
Yeah, the one that I'm hoping to pitch, and like I've got 3 more tickets to spring training games, and I got the Yankees, the Braves, and the Mets are the 3 teams that I have left to see. But I want to see Jackson Jobe throw against legitimate major league history hitters.
Yeah. I love me some Jackson Jobe too. I mean, you've talked about him a little bit. Former Ole Miss signee that ended up getting plucked away in the draft. Would have really loved to see him in the red and blue pitching at Swayze. If I'm not mistaken, he would have been in that rotation with Doug Nikhazy and the one that got drafted in the first round by the darn
the lefty
Gunner. No, he was a righty. Lord, I'm drawing a blank on his name now.
I know you're talking about.
After having Tommy John surgeries last year at Ole Miss, got drafted in the first round by the Blue Jays.
I know you're talking. He had that really smooth location. I can't believe I forgot his name too.
I know it's Gunner something. I can go ahead and tell you that, but I can't come up with his last name for now. But I'm pretty sure he would have been in that rotation.
Which means that not many people would have beaten Ole Miss.
No. And that would have been the 2020 year that got cut short by COVID when we had reeled off like 17 straight games too.
Yeah,
been a lot of fun.
And what they say about Jackson Jobe, I mean, like we said, we're off in the weeds right now, so we immediately got there.
Fine.
But Jackson Jobe, the Tigers just played a game against Spencer Strider and the Braves in spring training, and how the Tigers got ready for Spencer Strider was Jackson Jobe throwing live BP.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that says something right there already then. Because Spencer can bring it, especially with that curveball. If he's got a curveball now, like they're talking about, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's going to be bad.
It's like a 79-mile-an-hour curveball and a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah, good luck with the wipeout slider on top of it. So have fun.
Yeah. I mean, that dude's something else. I'm looking at, I'm kind of hoping he's the guy pitching because the 15th, I'm going to see the Tigers and the Braves. I'm kind of hoping he's there because I got to see Tarek Skubal
nice.
on Monday, and he's just pumping 99, and he's basically unhittable. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he's awesome.
Yeah. Skubal's going to have a real big year too. That's another one I'm excited to see. A lot of real good young players there for the Tigers, though, man. You're going to have a lot of fun. And, you're not going to win a World Series or anything more than likely, but you're sure enough going to get to see all these kids come up and grow and learn how to play the game. So they're one of the more fun teams. It's kind of like the Orioles last year were when they started bringing all these guys up.
Yeah, and they might win the Central. I mean, I wouldn't put that past
Oh, that's
them.
possible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
But I'm excited. Like, I'm going to the first time that I've ever seen the Tigers play an actual major league regular season game will be August 22nd, because I'm going over and catching them in Tropicana.
Okay, I was about to say they're coming down to Tampa.
Mm-hmm. So
that'll be fun then.
All right. So what is acceptable this weekend with Ole Miss taking on Morehead State? I think it's a situation where Ole Miss needs to sweep. Just mentally, for their mindset, they need to sweep this series.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what you're looking for going into this weekend, because of how many non-conference games you've already dropped, right? You've already got 5 non-conference losses, if I've got that right. So you don't really need to pile up any or many more than that. So you really do need to go in and take care of business this weekend, try to get 3 of them. But I'm actually okay if we take 2 out of 3, because they've got a dude throwing on Friday night. And anytime you have a sure enough Friday night ace, a guy that can just step in and shove it, you never know what's going to happen regardless of who he pitches for.
Yeah, the problem that I have with that is Ole Miss is going to play a team every week in the SEC that has a dude on Friday night. And you're telling me if Ole Miss can't beat the guy from Morehead State, whether he's a dude or not, you're telling me that more often than not, they're going to go into an SEC play on the weekend 0-1.
Well, I'm not saying that exactly, but if a guy that can come out and pitch and can control a game, it just takes one bad day in baseball at the plate or on the mound for that matter. It's such a random sport on how things can go for you. So it's kind of like in the NCAA tournament, if you're the host at a regional and you draw the 4 seed, first thing you look at is who got the worst 4 seed, because more than likely one of those guys is going to have one dude on Friday and then nothing else behind him after that. And then that's kind of what I see with Morehead State coming in this weekend. Their Friday night guy, Luke Helton, he's a righty, and he's been tremendous for them so far this year. Morehead 7-4, haven't played the stiffest competition so far, obviously, but he's pitched really well. He's 3-0 with a 2.95 ERA, and he's got 19 strikeouts and only 3 walks. So he's pounding the strike zone. It's a lot different from what we saw last weekend when we had a dude on the mound. He's not near as good as Brody Breck, obviously, but Breck could get wild at times. You had to be really selective. This guy comes right at you. This probably isn't a situation where you want to go up there and take a few pitches to see what he's got. He seems to really pound the strike zone. So hopefully our hitters from the jump on Friday night will step in the batter's box and get ready to swing.
Yeah, and it should be interesting, and because after the Iowa series, even with Breck having the Friday night performance that he did, Ole Miss really got back in position to win that game before a disaster 9th inning.
Yeah, we absolutely should have won that game. There's no doubt about it. Whenever you make that big of a comeback in the 8th, get into the 9th, it so happened to be one of those random things I was talking about a second ago. We hadn't seen Connor Spencer a whole lot this year, but it seemed like he was the guy that's going to end up anchoring the back end of that bullpen to allow more flexibility with Josh Mallets. And then he come in and he was good his previous 2 appearances, and he just really lost it. It all started with that blown review there with the catch in center field that they called him out, went and reviewed it, called him safe, and then everything unraveled from there. Not sure how you go back and review it and determine if that ball ended up dropping and putting him on first base, but that's what they did, and everything unraveled from there. So it's unfortunate that happened. Obviously, I think if they uphold that call, then it's a completely different ball game for Ole Miss. Connor settles down and gets out of that inning, and I really like Ole Miss's chances to score there in the 9th to take that Friday night game. And then you saw what happened the rest of the weekend, just really, really patient at bats going up there there looking for our pitch and, not chasing anything. We walked a ton this weekend. That's something we've been really good at this year, not only against Iowa, but the other teams as well. We've been really selective. Now our big thing, whenever we get those bases loaded, we've got to start cashing in. We have sacrifice flies and walks, right? So you're getting one run at a time. That was really the difference Friday night against Iowa. Just now that we're talking about it, is when they got runners on base, they came up with the big hit where they were scoring 2-3 runs at a time, where we were only getting one at a time per batter. So that's one thing we do got to get better at. I love the patience and them going up there, not free swinging at anything that comes over the plate. But this Friday, this seems to be a guy that you can go up there and swing at, 'cause he's not going to be out of the zone too often, it doesn't look like.
One thing that I enjoy is from the Iowa series, Trayson Hughes. Yeah. I like his approach at the plate. The ball obviously wasn't hitting the ground, but I really like his approach. He is a baseball player that likes to play baseball, and I dig that.
Yeah, and that's one guy that I've been kind of pumping all year long off the really rough start. Obviously, incredible defender though. That's going to keep him in the lineup. How good he is defensively. Now I think the next step is keeping him in there against lefties. He can hold his own against left-handed pitchers. I know he wasn't in there Sunday, but he gives you such a big edge in the outfield when he's out there beside Ethan Groff roaming around, and a guy that's really starting to see the ball really well, making really good contact in that Saturday game. He ends up having 3 hits. Really should have had 4. Put a really good swing to the opposite field, went halfway up the wall, going into the bullpen, and the Iowa left fielder made a really, really good play going up and getting it crashing into the wall. But that was another one that he saw the whole way, put a good swing on it, got the barrel to it, and really drove it the other way. So that's really what you want to see again out of struggling hitters. What kind of contact are they making, and are they still willing to go the opposite way? Trayson checks both of those boxes, and he never let his struggles at the plate carry to the defensive side out in the outfield, and he's been tremendous out there for us. So I'm all for Trayson Hughes being an everyday player, righty, lefty, get this man in the lineup, and let's keep getting him at bat so he can really get going the way that we know he can, like he has the past few years when he played at Mercer.
Now, one thing that I really enjoyed, and like 2 of the unsung stars, I don't know if it's unsung is the right word, because heck, Austin Simmons got a win, so he couldn't have been too unsung. But he had a 6-pitch, 3 out, 3 up, and 3 down inning, and I love that. And it made me think, it's like Bull Durham, right? Where the whole speech about strikeouts being fascist, throw some ground balls. And it is one of those things that baseball being played is more attractive than it just being a game of country J, essentially, where the pitcher and the catcher and the batter are just going at it and trying to compete. No, I like it when everybody gets involved, and Austin Simmons has been doing that. And I really like Wes Mendez. I think, people are going to freak out by the comparison that I'm going to make. I saw a lot of Doug in Wes Mendez, except with about 2 more miles an hour on his fastball.
Yeah, he goes up there and competes, right? That's what you want, especially out of young guys. You saw it out of, Doug's a pretty good example when he was a freshman. White Short's another good one when he was a freshman. Kind of a similar build to Mendez as well when he was a freshman. So Mendez, I thought, looked really good. He was really aggressive. He attacked strike zone. Going back to Austin Simmons, though, man, this has been a lottery ticket that you're just ready to cash in at this point. A guy that wasn't there for the spring ball or the fall ball and all that, because he was doing his football obligations. And no more time than he had to get ready. He comes in and he looks like he's got a legitimate shot to be a big-time arm out of this bullpen come SEC play. And not only to 8 innings, but a guy that you can bring in for high leverage innings. There's a huge difference in a guy coming in, in some kind of mop-up midweek or, a nobody weekend series, something like that, just to get his work in. Austin's held his own every single time he's gotten into the game. Looks really, really good. The fastball is really tough to catch up to. It's got a lot of life on it. Breaking ball keeps getting better and better and better. So Austin's a guy I thinks that's really going to play a key role in this bullpen to get some high leverage outs. Mendez is a guy that has really come on, that pitched really well in the midweek, and you saw him come in out of the bullpen during the weekend too, and that's what you like to see. That's kind of a little bit of a tell from Mike Bianco that he thinks he has something there when he's throwing a guy midweek and then bringing him back in on the weekend too to pitch out of the bullpen. So he's looked really good. I think the bullpen's been fantastic. Got to figure out the starting rotation a little bit. I think we have a ton of options there. We haven't mentioned it yet. JT Quinn's getting bumped from the rotation. Liam Doyle, the Coastal Carolina transfer, is going to be starting Saturday in his place. Interested to see how they're going to handle JT. Do they have a spot for him in the bullpen to come in and get his work this weekend, or are they just going to give him a whole week off to try to get those blisters fully healed that he's been dealing with? Mike said one of them was better last week, but he still had trouble out of the other one. So maybe this is a week off for him to get better leading into SEC play. But look, big start for Liam Doyle, right? When you come into a program like this and you get your opportunity, you need to go out there and you need to shove and show them that you have the stuff to compete at this level and that you deserve to stay in that weekend rotation. Super excited to see Liam Doyle pitch this weekend, though. He's a guy with a ton of upside from the left side of the plate, so that's going to be a lot of fun to watch come Saturday.
Morehead State, what kind of a threat do they have offensively? How good of a hitting team are they?
Man, they hit the fire out of the ball, dude. So they've got they've played 11 games so far this year. Like I mentioned, they're 7-4. Their catcher Ryan Grabshock, he's played 9 of the 11 games. He's hitting .448 with an 1148 OPS. Doesn't seem to have a whole lot of pop. No home runs. I think only 2 doubles so far this year. But he just hits and hits and hits and gets on base. That's what he does. The shortstop, Colton Becker, that's the one to watch out for this weekend. He's played in all 11 games, hit .413, 1222 OPS, 3 home runs, 9 stolen bases. That's going to be the key for Ole Miss this year. I still don't think we've thrown out a runner on the year. I think opposing teams are 10 for 10 stealing bases. And Morehead State is a team that's really going to try to run and cause some havoc on the base paths whenever they get a runner on. Colton Becker's one of those, like I said, with 9 steals. And then their center fielder, Riley Priest, is another guy. Played in all 11 games. He's hit .370 with a 1378 OPS, and he's blasted 7 home runs, 2 doubles, and also stolen 7 bases on the year. These guys will try to run wild anytime they get on base. Going to be a huge challenge for Smithwick and Birch, whoever's behind the plate, during those 3 games to try to keep these guys at bay, and also on the pitchers. It's not all on the catchers. Pitchers need to pay attention to those guys when they get on base. They need to shorten up their delivery, get the ball to home plate, and not take too long delivering the ball to try to give your catcher a little bit of a chance. But that's kind of what you're looking at from their offense standpoint. And they've got 4 other guys hitting over 300. It's a team that's really hit the ball well this year, but the stolen bases is what jumped out to me as much trouble as we've had on the base paths this year.
So it sounds to me like, just novice opinion, is the most important thing for Dennis, Doyle, and Saunier is no free passes.
None. Yeah. That's it. It's kind of the theme of the year, right? Keep the ball in the strike zone. Don't give them anything for free. Make them earn everything, because if they do get on base, then they can raise a little bit of hell on you getting first to second, second to third. And then even if they get on base and they're not stealing, they hit one, it doesn't even have to be into the gap. These are guys that can go first to third really easily without it ever getting by a fielder. So it's paramount that we try to keep these guys off base. I know that's, shocking to hear that you don't want people on base in baseball, but in this case in particular, it is incredibly important.
I'm kind of fired up to see them now, because I I said, I like watching baseball teams play baseball, and it sounds like they play baseball.
Yeah. You're going to see plenty of that this weekend. Now, there's not a lot behind the pitchers, right? Well, the thing is, we got to try to get into that bullpen. But on Friday night, it's going to be a lot different than last Friday. You're not going to get into it by watching him pitch over and over and over again. You got to go up there and you got to earn your hits and get on base and knock him out that way. So it's going to be interesting to see what the approach is, because of how different it is weekend to weekend from Friday to Friday.
And, Andrew Fisher, he made it back in midweek this week. So I think he's going to be all right for the weekend, don't you think?
Yeah. That's kind of what I'd heard all along, that he was going to be fine. I was obviously super interested in the lineup against Memphis to make sure that was the case. But yeah, he's plugged back in there, batting third, playing third, batting second, which where it seems that he's really settled in at. So good to see him back in there after that scary play Sunday, getting hit in the head, ear, whatever you want to call it. But anytime you get a fastball up that high and it gets to the helmet, it's a scary situation. So just really glad he's back in the lineup and, able to go for us again.
And this pitching staff sounds like they have their work cut out for them, because you have young catchers, you have talented catchers, you have young catchers. And it feels like Morehead's going to put a lot of pressure on Ole Miss if they get on base. So it's going to be, like I said, imperative on Dennis, which he doesn't walk a lot of people anyway. I do not know about Liam Doyle, this being his first time out there. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, Liam, he's done a pretty good job this year in coming in relief, really attacking the zone. I wouldn't expect anything less from him out of a start. Quite frankly, I think that's why you're seeing him get a start, was how much that he was in zone in the couple relief appearances he's had and the histories. I mean, he started all year last year for Coastal Carolina, so it's nothing new for him at the same time. So really excited to see him though. But yeah, the biggest key, stay in the zone. Don't give them anything for free, and don't let them put pressure on you without them doing it themselves.
Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Also, check out the grovecollective.com/march to victory. Derek Vandygriff, thank you so much for stopping by. And next week, we'll be talking about, what is it, Ole Miss and Tennessee?
South Carolina, opening SEC play. Yeah.
Okay.
Tennessee's the week after.
Should be pretty good to see how it goes. But I'll talk to you then, buddy.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right.